If you feel like you're getting steady, consistent results, but you're just not satisfied with them, you're trying to break through to the next level as a real estate agent, this is the episode for you. I'm going to talk to you about rethinking everything that's working for you. That's right. Everything that's working, you may want to rethink it because it may not be working as well as you think. Let's go. What is up, guys? Welcome to episode 318 of the Massive Agent Podcast. I am your host, Dustin Brohm, here in Salt Lake City, Utah. I'm excited for this episode because it's really pushing back on a lot of, like the natural way of doing business, right? Like it's pushing against the conventional wisdom. And that's where, when done right and when done intelligently and thoughtfully, can produce a lot of great results for you. So if you are someone who's getting results, but you're trying to get to another level, like you're getting business, you're selling some houses, you think things are working, but you're like, how do I get to that next level? How do I 2X? How do I 3X? This is the episode for you. And I'm going to be pushing back on some paradigms that you may have in a very good way. Before we get started, first off, if you're new to the show, welcome. My name is Dustin Brohm. Yeah, hosting this podcast called the Massive Agent Podcast. We're 6 years in now. Oh, shit. I think we're like exactly... Let me look this up. I think we're exactly 6 years. When is the January 12th, 2018 was when we launched the show, and I'm recording this on January 22nd. So, wow. Happy 6th birthday to the Massive Agent Podcast. I didn't even realize that. I mean, that was 10 days ago. Sweet. So imagine not realizing it was your birthday till 10 days later. That's what I just did. Whatever. But thank you. We just crossed 1 million downloads right before the 6th birthday, and super excited about that. So thank you very much. I don't know what I was going to say next. So let's just get into it. Right now in real estate, there's this general feeling from most agents that I speak to, and I'm connected with hundreds, if not thousands of agents. We have a few hundred just on my team, through social and through all the other connections I have with agents, because all I do all day is talk to agents. If I had to oversimplify, if I had to poorly explain what I do for a living, I talk to real estate agents, but it's also accurate. There's a general consensus that a general feeling of optimism and positivity going into this year, that, prospects are coming off the sidelines. People that are like, I'm going to wait, they're starting to return to the market, and business is starting to pick up. We're seeing that. A lot of experts said that would happen, and I believe that will continue to happen. But if you want to really make 2024 your year, right? Like 2023, you survived it, and you should be proud that you survived 2024 for real, because it was one of the hardest years in real estate in a long time. There was the lowest sales, the fewest number of homes sold in 2023 since like the mid to late 90s. That's pretty crazy. And you survived that. You should be proud of it. And you're telling yourself 2024 is going to be much better, much stronger. Yes. If you do nothing different than 2023, you'll probably have a better year. But are you going to have a great year? Well, you need certain tools in your tool belt in order to do that. And number one is information. You have to know some things and have some context and perspective and expertise that other agents don't. And one of the fastest, easiest ways to get that information is keeping current matters. Go to trykcm.com/BAM. This is the tool. By the way, I don't know why I dropped the link first, but if you go to trykcm.com/BAM, you can try this service that so many of the top agents in the country, and pretty much all of the agents that I look up to for their wisdom and guidance about what's happening, they're all using KCM. So shouldn't you? KCM gives you all the information about what's happening with interest rates, with the market, with sales, projections and graphs, so that you can understand what's happening, what has happened, what's about to happen, and then explain that to your clients in a way that guides them and advises them to help them accomplish what they want to do. And if you need graphs that are really easy to understand, like graphs sound so freaking nerdy, but graphics that show certain stats visually so that people are like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Maybe I shouldn't wait. You need keeping current matters, because That's who creates all the great graphics that you see online. Pretty much, it's Keeping Current Matters. So you could have that tool in your back pocket. Just go to trykcm.com/BAM and try them out. And while you're at it, go to what's the website? Nowbam.com. Unbelievable. I don't know why I spaced on that. Nowbam.com, and check out the BAMx community. It started as online courses and training and classes to help real estate agents with what really matters, like the real parts of your business that you struggle with. They have courses and trainings on how to fix those and how to patch the holes, right? But then they turned it into this great community with a referral network and agents all around the country sharing what is working for them. And for just pennies a day, I think it is, you could be part of the BAMx community. It's an absolute no-brainer, and you may as well make it even cheaper for yourself. Use code MASSIVE at checkout and get an even deeper discount on what's already, I believe, extremely discounted. Nowbam.com. Check out BAMx. So I phrased this episode in the beginning, rethink what's working. So whatever's working in your business, I want you to, so first off, today, you got to put your ego aside. You've got to put your ego to the side a little bit and be like, all right, let's break what you've built. I get, yeah, that's a good way to put it. We're going to break what you've built. At least we're going to second guess what you built. Is what you've built actually working? Is what you think is working? Is it working well? So, like I said, this is for the agents that have fairly steady, fairly consistent results. You're selling houses. If you're brand new, or if you're stuck and you don't have anything going for you, you can pick some up from this episode for sure. But what I want to caution you is not to overanalyze. This is not, what I'm about to tell you is not to make you overthink what you're building. Like, not at all. Like, if you're not doing anything, do something, build something. And then later on, once it's working and once that car's going down the road, then you can look at it and say, like, you know what, that car's pretty ugly. You know what, that car's pretty slow. You know what, that car gets shit gas mileage or shitty range if you have a Tesla, which, by the way, we love our Tesla Model Y. Amazing car. Like, for real. I love like Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and all that stuff, and I absolutely want one. But driving a Tesla, it's not a car, it's a spaceship. Right? It's a spaceship on wheels. It even sounds like it sometimes when you're accelerating, and then when you put it into reverse, it sounds like a freaking vacuum cleaner. But that's besides the point. Teslas are just fun to drive. But anyhow, I took that analogy a little bit too far, or did I? I don't want you to overthink. So this is why I said, if you're getting consistent results, if something's working for you, we're gonna decide, is it working well enough? Right? Are you settling for good in, when great is possible? But if you're not there, if you're just trying to build something and get your lead gen going and get your business going, you need to do something, and don't overthink it. Overthinking is the opposite of what you need to do. So be aware of where you're at in this process. Okay. You've got to be self-aware here. That I'll handle the context and the information and the advice, but you have to bring the self-awareness and know where you're at. So if you're new, if you're struggling, if you're stuck, get something going, because then you can be critical of the thing that you get going. Okay. But don't try to do it and overthink the shit before you get it going. All right. So you've heard the phrase, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Right? Well, let's push back on that a little bit. Look, I agree with that in general. Like, if it's not broken, don't mess around with it. Like, let it keep going. However, what does broke mean? What does broke mean? Okay, does broke mean not working at all? Or does broke mean underperforming? So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Well, what if it's underperforming and you know it's underperforming and you can fix it, make it better? Is that not worth doing? Just because it's working, what if it could work 3 times better? Isn't that worth doing, right? This is why we have to be critical and thoughtful here. So what I'm talking about specifically, and I'll give you some examples. If your marketing is working, like let's say you're spending money on Zillow, $1,000 per lead, and you're like, well, that's working because it costs you $6,000 to make $8,000. Okay. Like, that works, right? You could do that all day long. That works. If you could walk into a store or a bank, give them $6,000 and they would give you $8,000 back, you would do that all day, right? Now, obviously there's some work involved, there's some other expenses, but let's say after all that, it's cost you $6,000 to get a closing and your average check is $8,000. You get the point, right? Insert your numbers here, all that. Okay, is the use of that $6,000 really the best, right? What if that $6,000 could be put into Facebook ads, Google ads, some other means of lead gen, an SEO strategy for your website, or building a website with an SEO strategy, right? $6,000 a month, that's a considerable budget to spend on marketing. So if you could spend that elsewhere and get 2 closings or 3 closings, right? Spend $6,000 and make $12,000 or $18,000, wouldn't that be better? So you just have to be smart enough and thoughtful enough to ask, is this use of the $6,000 that we're spending on Zillow, is that wise? Is that the best use of that money? Maybe the answer is yes, but at least be critical of it and start to think, is that the best? Spending money on mailers, right? I was working with an agent one-on-one, doing some one-on-one coaching with an agent that was spending between $5,000 and $8,000 a month on mailers. And, the ROI was not amazing. I think he made money on it a little bit, but when we thought about it, it's like, you're spending $8,000 a month and maybe getting a closing. What if you don't that month? It's just $8,000 could go so far with a videographer, with a content strategy, with Facebook ads and Google ads. Like, you could do all the different things for $8,000 a month and then have some left over for dinner. So is direct mail the best approach? Maybe it is. But be thoughtful. Just because you're spending $8,000 on mailers and you're potentially making $9,500 or whatever that number is that the best use of the money? The answer may be yes, but it may be no, because then you have to consider not just the spend, but all the work that goes into it. Do you have to redo the copy every month? Do you have to create a new call to action every month? Does it involve work and effort on your part, or is it just a turnkey? You spend $8,000, it spits out deals and you close them and you make 10 grand. You've got to know the details of that. This is why this is all personal to you. Other things that I believe agents should really be auditing and second guessing and being critical of right now to make sure that you're doing the best, that you're doing the right thing. If you're part of a team, should you be part of a different team? Or maybe should you be solo? If you're solo, maybe you should be part of a team. Have you ever thought that maybe your butt is in the wrong seat? We've talked about this, and I've used that analogy so much on this podcast. And it's important because you don't really hear about that in this industry, right? Is the team you're with the best fit for you? Or are you just settling for okay? A different agent that I coached with one-on-one was with a team that, if he was really honest, he said that he felt like kind of drained whenever he'd go into the office, and he felt in a way like he had to babysit a little bit. And he didn't feel like the team was really bringing much to him, even though he had a 50-50, I believe, maybe it was more. He had a 50-50 split with the team. So he took a step back, thought about it, ended up going to a different brokerage, joining a different high-powered team, and he's off to the races. He's going to be making more per deal. All of his expenses are less. It's a positive, uplifting, empowering, energy-giving environment now. And had he just kept going with the flow because it was comfortable, he would have kept struggling because he was with that old team and his former brokerage. So if that resonates with you, that's for you. If that doesn't resonate with you, if you're like, he's not talking to me, then I'm not talking to you. All right. But what about your brokerage? Are you with the right brokerage? Maybe you are. So look, like I am always thinking about, am I with the right brokerage? Is there anything better? Is the one I'm with the best? And is it still the best? Is what I thought to be true still true? Like, these are all positive things, because when you second guess and you're critical, what's the worst case? The worst case is you get some more perspective. You get some more education on what other opportunities are out there, what other brokerages look like, what they offer, what they don't offer. And you may very well find that your brokerage, based on your goals, your aspirations, everything you're trying to build, and the people that are surround you to help you, that you really are in the right place. How awesome would that be if you start looking at all these other shiny objects and realize, wait, there's no substance to their shine. Like they're just shiny and loud, but like I am in the right place. Like I've done that for years. I'm always looking for something better. I just haven't seen it, right? And when I do, you better believe I'm going to grab it. So your brokerage, your team, your broker, this is where you, again, I told you, I'm going to bring the perspective and you need to bring the self-awareness. Okay. This is a two-way road here, this episode. You bring the self-awareness and the honesty, the intellectual honesty. I'll bring the perspective, and you can decide what to do with it. If you're someone who's burned out from sales, you're burned out from showings, and like you can't keep doing more activities yourself. You want to make more money, but you just can't keep doing more and more and more yourself. Are you around people who know how to start to build leverage? Are you connected with people that have already built a team, who have leveraged showing agents, leveraged virtual assistants, who have stepped out of production because they built a business? If those are your goals, if your goal is just to keep selling more houses and more houses and more houses, more houses, and just keep going and go, then are you around people who know how to do that? If you, like me, want a great lifestyle where you can spend a significant amount of time with your family, where your kids come home from school and they're like, hey, can you play with me? If you can say, yep, how awesome is that? If you want that, is that possible with what you're currently doing? Does anyone that you're connected with on your team, your broker, your brokerage, is anyone going to show you how to get that lifestyle? Is anyone going to show you how to sell more houses in less time? Is anyone going to show you how to sell fewer houses on purpose, right? Whatever that means to you. I don't know the answer, because again, you've got to bring your own scenarios and your own self-awareness to this. I realized a while back, almost 6 years ago now, that at my former brokerage, I would just keep selling houses because that's all they knew how to do. And that's all they wanted. That's all they taught. That's all. Just sell more houses, sell more houses, sell more houses, sell more houses. And I realized, if I keep doing that, I'm going to miss more dinners. I'm going to be stuck in rush hour even more driving across town to show houses. I'm going to miss seeing my kids grow up even more. So I had to look for people who had a different lifestyle, who had built a real estate business that sold a crap load of homes, hundreds and hundreds of homes a year, but they were free to spend more time with their family. They had regular date nights with their spouse. They spent a lot of time with their kids. They went on vacations and everything while selling a crap load of houses. And by partnering with people like that, I realized I was just going about it wrong, because I was around people who had no idea how to do anything but just sell more, sell more, sell more. You may be in a place where selling more is exactly what you should be doing. For a lot of you, selling more and more should be, but when does it stop? And are you burned out with it? Do you see yourself doing it for the next 5, 10, 20 years? I don't know the answers to that, because you have to answer it. But is the place you're at and the people that you're connected with, your support system that you have at your current team or brokerage, are they going to help you get out of it? Do they know how to? Do they know how to help you build what you want to build? And if not, you should start looking for someone who has built it and do what they've done. Go where they've gone, partner with them, join them. Because like I said, the worst case scenario from being critical of what you think is good is you become more educated and you have more perspective and decide that where you're at, what you're doing with the people you're doing it with really is the best. But what if that's not the case? What if you realize, you know what? I feel like I'm working with one hand tied behind my back. I feel like I'm swimming upstream. Then wouldn't it make sense to make a change and go somewhere else, or team up with different people? If you're honest, I think you'd agree. But that requires bold choices. It requires big moves. They may be scary at first. They may be uncomfortable. But isn't that usually where the growth comes from? One of my mentors told me a long time ago, and I know this is a quote that, like, this isn't my mentor's quote, but I remember the lesson from him the most. But the life that you want is on the other side of what you're avoiding the most, right? The life that you want is on the other side of what you're avoiding. And a lot of us are avoiding something. Or maybe you're just avoiding looking because you know what you're going to find, right? You're like, oh, if I start looking, I know that I'm going to be like, oh, I gotta go to another brokerage. Like, this one just doesn't work for me. I hate the culture. I hate the people. They don't know how to get out of sales. And that's my goal. So are you avoiding the inevitable? And if so, why, right? Ask yourself why. Just some food for thought today. Short episode. I wanted to keep it short and sweet so that you can do some reflecting. So you can really ask critically of yourself what you need and find what's working and tear into it. Be critical of it. Rethink it. Maybe it's working as it should. And then you can be confident that, look, if you find that what you're doing is working the way that it should, it's overperforming, not underperforming. How awesome is that? Then you don't have to second guess it again. You can confidently move forward on something else without wondering, should I be doing that? Like, should I make this change? Should I add this, delete that? Like, because constantly doubting and second guessing sucks. That's not helping you move forward. It's actually holding you back like an anchor. Be critical, be thoughtful, know where you're at, be self-aware. Thank you so much for listening. And please share this episode with any real estate agent, any broker, any team member, real estate Facebook groups, in your story. Tag us. We'll reshare it. When I say we, I mean I. We'll reshare it at Massive Agent on Instagram or Massive Agent on YouTube. I really appreciate you listening. And I will say this. So you guys who, if there's any of you in Cincinnati, Louisville, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Reno, Vegas, anywhere in Alabama, in Arkansas, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, I believe, we have so many markets in the Massive Agent Referral Network that we still need representatives for. I mean, we have some great agents right now, but it's a big ass country. And Canadian we need Canadian representatives, Toronto, Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal, we need you. So if you are an agent who's selling houses, you're selling at least a house per month, and you can also bring some referrals. You are capable of generating referrals and giving out referrals, and you want to get some for yourself, go to massiveagentpodcast.com/referral and apply to join the Massive Agent Referral Network. There's some information in there, some qualifications. It talks about the monthly dues that we have so that we only have the agents who are serious, and it weeds out the unserious. Check out the Massive Agent Referral Network because we've, what is it? Today's Monday. We had 2 or 3 referrals given out today alone. It's just awesome. It's really cool what's happening so fast within this group. And once we get more great agents, it's just going to start, referrals are going to flow even faster, but we need you and we want you to participate because it sucks when we have someone like, hey, I need an agent for this area. I have a listing referral and we're like, oh, don't have one. I mean, I'm able to connect them with somebody, but my God, it should be you. MassiveAgentPodcast.com/referral. Join today. Thank you for listening. See you guys next week. Take care.